Welcome to So We Gather, the intersection of culinary and conversation, where we not only break bread, but we break the ice. Dinner is served. So, on this episode of So We Gather, we're talking about computer love. Really, it's everything about love. Valentine's Day is coming up. And, we need to talk about the nuances and the craziness surrounding what your timelines are about to be in the next couple of weeks. So we have some amazing guests, starting with Jasmine.
I'm Jasmine, I'm 25, and I'm single.
I'm Shavon, I'm 24, and I'm single but dating.
I'm Jourdan, I'm 25, and I'm in a relationship.
I am Cortney, I'm 35, and I am married.
And I am Efi, and I'm 25, and I am single. First things first, want to introduce the food, what you guys are eating today. This is a lobster mac and cheese from A Cozy Kitchen. It's actually an Instagram blogger that I love. She taught me this recipe or showed me this recipe. And this is broccolini, and then there's some jalapeno cheese bread and white bread down there with some garlic herb butter. So let's dig in. So since this love episode of So We Gather is so near to Valentine's Day, I wanted to know if you guys had any plans. Like, do you have any, or is it Galentine's Day? Is it, for the relationship, for the marriage, for the dating? Girl, I ain't got no plans. So, it's just, it's a Galentine's Day for me, but what do you guys have planned? Or what do you think you're going to be doing?
Oh, I gotta go first?
I mean, that's your choice.
I plan, I'm going to do something nice for my wife, because I feel like
That's nice.
I want to, and she deserves it. And I don't typically believe in doing it merely because it's Valentine's Day. I think it's a cop-out to do something nice for someone you love merely because it's a national holiday. But I also, as I get older, I have less of an issue about, I think I tell her and I show her that I love her all the time. So it's like, why not just have another day to do so?
Are you the type to make it a surprise, or?
I mean, it's not a surprise now because I said it on camera. I did, and I do plan on getting her something. I'm just not going to tell her what it is, so it will be a surprise in that way, but now she knows to expect something. It'll be like a package of socks or something like that.
I'm sure.
I'm a surprise person, and I definitely, I have something planned, but, I know she's been talking about a few things that she had mentioned, just passing, and I've been, been like, okay. So I have something I'm going to, pull up my sleeve on her, which, it's going to be, make it something special. I feel you, Courtney. Like I'm not too big on just a single day to really cement like it is.
Yeah.
I like anniversary. Those are cool.
Yeah.
But those are
The national holiday, sweetest day.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day. Yeah.
As long as that day's still there, I got to do something, a little something.
Are you guys going to get something for your potentials?
I am dating someone, so we'll see. I'm sure we'll probably do something. But yeah, I don't know what yet. So, but we'll probably spend the day together or at least see each other. So that's as far as I know.
I am dating, and I feel like the only way I would have solidified plans if I'm asked to be like their Valentine, like the corny childish way. But I'm someone who needs clear communication. I need that line drawn, like, oh, are we Valentine? Are we gonna?
Are we actually doing this?
Yeah, are we doing something? Like, I know we're not like in a relationship, but are we, hanging out, spending this day that you're supposed to be acknowledging, not celebrating, acknowledging love? Like, are we gonna, take that there and do that? So if it's not established, right now it's in the air. So
can you spend the day that's supposed to be about, to your point, acknowledging love with someone that you don't love?
Yes, I think so. I think, because that's right, I'm not celebrating. We're not celebrating it because we're not, I don't think we're in love, but we're acknowledging, like, this is what, people who are either interested in each other or, dating, in a relationship, whatever, married, they spend that time together, and that's the day to do it, but...
Well, in the spirit of dates and kind of doing stuff on Valentine's Day, I almost want to bring it back, jog your guys' memories. What was the best date you've ever had?
best date, not Valentine's Day.
Just
the
date
best-
in
the best
general. So
date.
like, you know, outside of just the regular leading up to Valentine's Day, what was the best date you've ever had?
Oh, mine would definitely have to be when I was in New York. He took me along to like the boardwalk of the water. We ate like at this expensive rooftop bar. It was definitely like one of those $200 dates.
Okay.
You know, top drinks.
He didn't bat at the bill.
He actually was encouraging it. You know,
okay.
it was beautiful. Then we went like to Times Square. Like it just never stopped. Like we always, you know how like some dates just like you do one thing and then like she gets dropped off. Mm-hmm. But it was like we just kept going, and it was like at the spur of the moment. You know what I mean? Like we see this. You wanted to go? Like you know. So that was fun. It was just like the fact that it was like sporadic and we didn't know what was going to happen next. So that was really fun.
One of the best dates I went on it was very low-key, very chill. And this person I hadn't known for too long, but I was very surprised because he took me to the museum and to a bookstore. And if you know me as a person, those are like some of my favorite things to do. And it was just like really touching that he was listening to me, paying attention to me, and noticed that those were some of the things I really enjoyed to do, and he decided to take me out to experience those things with me. Wasn't necessarily like obviously the most expensive date I've been on or anything like that, but that was definitely one of the best dates because it showed me that he was paying attention.
And I guess on this side of the table, typically the best date you've ever been on, obviously you probably have the best date, but you're the one who initiates it. You kind of know, I mean, we live in a patriarchal society, so it's hard not to say that you didn't already have the date pre-planned. But you don't know where it's going to go or how it's going to be with this specific person. So what's the best date that you've planned, and why was it the best date?
You want to go?
Sure. I haven't done anything that extravagant, unfortunately. You know, so
You're not dropping 200 per date.
No, I'm not gonna recalculate what I'm about to do. I'm a low key guy. Like I will, you know, my girl is too, and that's why we really bond on that. So it's like we might just go somewhere and just like take photos. You know, like that's big me. I don't know the best date. Like I went to my first concert with her, and you know, and that was really dope. But yeah, you know, it's just things like that. Those are those things.
The memorable things.
Yeah.
The little memorable.
I mean, I think you get to a certain point where experiences and all of those things are nice, but experience doesn't mean engagement. It doesn't mean compatibility. So my best date is with my wife, and it's super simple. Like I just felt everything in me. I knew that we'd have a great conversation. And our first date, we ended up spending like 16 hours together, just talking, just hanging out, just genuinely getting to a level and a depth of conversation that I knew within the first 20 minutes that she was my wife. Like that is my best day. But it's the truth. It's not not for the camera, not for this. Like that's the reality of my life. That after 20 minutes of talking to her, I knew that she was different than any other woman I had met.
The flip side to that question is, what's the worst date you've ever been on? Because ladies,
I don't even.
I've definitely. I can start. Like one of the worst dates I've ever been on was we went to an empanada restaurant, and it was a very like it was a grab and go. Like this is a place that you go when it's like 3 a.m. and you're drunk and you want to sober up. And I was like, why are we at Empanada Mama? Like it's in New York, and we talked, but it's that feeling of the date that makes it bad. Is in like you're like, I can't wait for this to end. Like that's all you can think about in your head is I can't wait for this to end. I'm asking you questions that I'm not actually curious about. You clearly don't notice that you haven't asked me a single question about myself. And then like when it was time for us to pay the bill, like he's looking like, so I'm like, yeah, you know, you're like, wait,
See, I can't pay the bill.
I'm
That's
totally
triggering to me.
Thank you. It's almost like, what girl have you wifed and you went Dutch on the first date? Please tell me.
That's not a good question.
Yeah, exactly. Because like,
but I don't think just because you go Dutch means it's
obviously I don't think it's a bad date, but I think that it does set a different. Yes, it sets a tone. And hey, I'm not against women.
I'll tell you.
Because I feel like if you're asking,
what year is it?
Let's dive deep into this.
We're progressive, right?
We're very progressive.
We're not progressive?
So
Thank you for admitting that.
I will say,
Thank you for telling
what
the
I
truth.
will say is, I feel like, if you took time out of your day to ask me out, plan the date, you are setting the tone that you're going to take care of the bill.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that has to be the case every single time. Right. I'm not saying if I'm in a relationship, I expect my partner to pay for everything. Cool. But I feel like in that, we didn't say, hey, let's meet up. Yeah. Right? If we said, hey, let's meet up, then shoot, I might be paying for it.
Yeah.
I didn't say, hey, let me take you out. Because if I say, let me take you out, I'm taking care of the bill. Right? Yeah. So that's how I feel.
And that was actually the worst date of my life because of that. Because when you so we went to like this restaurant downtown. I ordered the exact same thing he ordered. Mm-hmm. I got the exact same drink he ordered, so it was really 2 for $1. It was double the bill. Kid you not. We sitting at the bar, so I'm next. He's like to my right, the right of me. Oh. He gets the date was, we were talking, fun, it was cool, but then the bill come, and, he literally gets the check.
That's the worst.
And said,
that's the worst.
And it gets worse. Then, he pulls out his phone to pull up his bank app to see, if he had enough money in it. And it gets worse. It gets worse. So I'm acting like I don't see nothing because
I hope poor boy ain't watching this.
I hope he is. But then it gets worse. So now we're getting back to the car. This is around the time I wasn't in Detroit, so I didn't really know the area. I'm waiting for him to take me back home, but I realizing we're not going my route. I said, so what are we doing? He was Ubering. Did Uber Eats to make up for the money he.
No, it didn't.
I promise you. The worst. So he went to go pick up some food.
So
he was on his way to a restaurant.
Okay, so let's step back. So mine is the fact that you were an accessory to an Uber Eats delivery.
I really feel like I was in the suburbs.
You were in the Twilight Zone.
So here, I want.
I'm making moves with my men, dog. We making drop offs.
To be honest, I hope you at least took a fry when you cooked up a meal.
I think I was just so focused on getting home. My mindset was just get home because you can block him after
you
this.
Actually could have gotten out and called it Uber. That's
I was like, he was like, yeah, I gotta make this money back that I spent.
But no, I want to make this point on not even on behalf of men, just to me a point of logic, right? So first, to make my position clear, I think that very much so that if a man asks a woman out, that you should be prepared to take care of the responsibilities and things that go along with that. Exactly. I genuinely actually believe that, right?
Exactly.
I also though think that there's this nuance there in that conversation of it is not the worst thing in the world if you were to split a bill on the first day. I think that there are many times where a woman might actually be out with a man that she's highly compatible with, very much so likes, could be in tune with, and because maybe him, for whatever reason, good or bad, I'm not even defending that position, is saying, yo, let's split this. Now all of a sudden you put him in a lane, in a kind of a basket of men, where it's you're not even open to what the future could be. Ultimately, in the ideal situation, if this man could potentially be a husband or in an in-depth relationship, does that one split bill deter you from a 30-year or 40-year relationship? Yes. Okay.
Because my experience, that experience made me realize, and I say this with the most humble words possible.
You don't gotta be humble.
You cannot be broke dating me. I think if you are in a financial bind, dating should be on the last.
That's fair.
I'm not saying you don't deserve love. I'm not saying me. No.
But dating is expensive.
Dating is expensive.
You're
it's expensive for me, and
I'm
not even the one.
Is it expensive for you?
It's very expensive. It's a time taxing activity.
You gotta make sure you have clothes to go on the date. You gotta make sure you have time to go on the date.
lashes are 80. Like
I don't do all that now.
Like to keep
just
up
my
with
hair.
a woman,
So to that point,
maintenance is
if
expensive.
dating is expensive for you guys, and by your reasoning, you feel like a man should be accountable and able to step up to that plate.
Yes.
To deal with those bills. At what point would you split a bill?
Well, at what?
I've
Maybe
split-
like
I've split
when we're in
bills.
a relation, like
Even before
even
then.
third, fourth the date, I will
Yeah.
pay.
You'd be like,
But
okay,
the
now
thing-
now we can go Dutch.
No,
So
no,
my
I've done it the
position,
second-
so my
Okay.
position is different because I'm way more financially stable than like people my age.
Okay.
So it's honestly a burden if you're not financially stable, because
Fair.
then I'm
You're
like,
taking care of everything.
yeah, I'm not doing that, because
And
if
that's a
that's
whole
the case,
different other
yeah, because
concept.
now
But
I'm
I-
talking about dependency. You know,
Yeah.
like you're dependent on me, or I'm not doing that. I could be single, which I am, but I can stay single. Then
entertain this.
Yeah.
What I will say is, something that I do is if, we're on the first date, second date, whatever, and the guy insists on paying, let's say we're just still dating and we haven't taken the next step to be in a relationship. If I'm noticing, like, every time we're going out, you're not letting me pay, I will definitely offer to pay the tip. Definitely.
Fair.
Because it's like, I don't want
But
you
you
to...
both can be honest in saying that if a man is not willing to pay the bill on the first date,
The
there
first
won't
date
be a
that he
second.
initiated.
that don't
That
waste
he
my time
initiated,
like that.
I think it just...
'Cause I could have stayed home. and-
Yeah, it just sets a tone. I mean, mind you, to round out, now that you mentioned it, I feel like that wasn't my worst date. Empanada Mama was not my worst date. It's just, I think also what constitutes a bad date can also be
I think
the
it's
type of
relative to-
conversation.
Yeah.
It's not
Yes.
just
But
who
that's-
pays or who doesn't. It's
But
also
that's
like,
my point. So if you have if you go out on a date with a man and you have the best
it's
conversation
the cherry
you've ever
on
had,
top. It's the cherry on top.
you have the best conversation you ever had.
Him
You
paying-
enjoy the night, and he's like, "Hey, we splitting this."
Him
Is that
paying,
a bad date?
him
I don't think
paying,
so.
him paying is the
I don't
cherry
think
on
so.
top.
Okay.
I don't think it is
She
the deal.
says,
It's not the deal breaker,
Okay.
but it is the cherry on top of a great date.
okay.
So I think that one of the worst dates I've ever had was a guy that literally was venting to me about a girl he wasn't
Oh
over.
yeah, they do that.
And it was
Y'all
like,
do that?
I
Y'all
don't know
do
why
that?
you're on this.
I'm not me.
I literally
No,
could not
no.
imagine in my mind why this person was on a date with me and then after asked me if I wanted to hang out.
I mean, that's easy.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I
You're a
get it. I'm playing
distraction.
therapist.
Yeah, you're a distraction.
But you couldn't have thought that was a good date. You just couldn't have thought.
People don't realize they're venting.
I was just about to say.
They don't. First of all, they can't recognize they need therapy. So then they project that onto you. Just do a science experiment. Ask a guy about his ex, and he can go on and on because he don't talk about his boys with him. Y'all do that a lot. But in
Jordan,
terms of like the
Cortney, like,
husband,
yo.
I think
Who
it
is
depends.
y'all?
I think it depends on the guy.
I think you guys are sexist.
I think no.
It depends
no.
on the person.
I'm sorry.
I think
It does
so.
depend on the person because women do it too.
oh yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Women
yeah.
do it too. It does depend on the person.
I mean,
Definitely.
as women, we do lean on each other though to
Yeah,
vent about those
we
things.
have more
but
friends.
But
to kinda,
we do it to men
Oh, for
as
sure.
well.
For sure,
on
I'm not
dates.
denying that we do that.
Yeah.
So.
I've never been on a date where ex conversations never came up. Like I think that's always a good way to learn about.
Mhm.
I assess like, okay, are you gonna talk bad about her? Are you gonna talk? You know what I mean? How are you gonna are you gonna still speak well? Because I still think who you used to date, is that's a reflection of you as well.
1,000%.
So it's like, okay,
And
because
how you
I'm
talking
looking at
about
like, if you're talking bad about her, if something doesn't work out with us, what would you say about me?
No,
Because
you
everyone knows they're gonna just say whatever makes them look good.
I would say not even just if you're talking bad about them, but I mean in general, if you're talking about the situation, are you able to take a certain level of accountability? There's no
Exactly.
That is important.
no breakup is one person's fault.
Exactly.
That is
There's no breakup in
And
the
that's a
world
red flag when you can't say one thing you did to
Right.
contribute to y'all breaking up.
Right.
So
So dessert is a pear and apple cobbler with vanilla ice cream. Clearly, it is. Guys liked it. So to continue off of just getting more into love, but getting into like the fact that love is very digitized in this day and age. Everything is on Instagram. Everything is relationship goals. There's couple bloggers. People are literally making money to be together. at this point, or the appearance of being together. So I wanted to kind of shift into the most toxic relationship space on earth, and that's Twitter, and bring to you guys some hot takes on Twitter, some things that people say. Let me know you guys' thoughts, or at least, do you believe in it? Do you not believe in it? I'm gonna hit you guys with some good ones. Does Netflix and chill count as a first date?
No.
Okay, why not? Why not? What if it just want to do something chill? You know him or you know her? Or...
I don't care about what the women are gonna say to a certain extent on this. I think that as a man, a date doesn't have to be counted in the amount of dollars that you spend. A date can also be quantified in the level of creativity that you exert in saying, I want to show this person and this woman that I actually want to give them my attention and my time. So Netflix and chill, I'm not even saying anything's wrong with that in the sense of if you just want to hang out, but I'm not going to consider that a date. There is a certain level, I think you get to a certain age of maturity as a man, it's if I like this woman, I'm going to show that in a way that goes beyond watching a movie, sitting on my couch, and then probably trying to fuck. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Begins and ends with sex is probably a little bit to it. That's you might not even like them. It might just be that moment. So
right.
Yeah,
it's a terrible footing. Okay, I can say that I agree wholeheartedly with everyone on the table. That's a unison. Have you ever slid into the DMs?
in my whole
I
time,
have.
whole my relationship.
Not his current relationship.
not right now.
But the past ones.
Before your
I-
he's making
yes.
it clear before.
Yeah,
it's
no, I want to
before.
be clear. Yeah. No, I have. In the past. Yeah,
What
so-
makes you slide in a girl's DMs? Like the way she.
It's just how she looks. Yeah, I mean, it's not a real thought out process. It's more just
It's like, hey,
Oh,
I
she
see.
cute.
Yeah,
Let me
it's the success ratio is obviously very low because it's just
shooting in the bucket, like just
right. And it's no, but it's something a younger version of Jourdan used to try to do. Tinder, all those things. You're trying to just you see and then you pursue type of situation. But as I matured and of course got my relationship, I realized I didn't get what I want, that companionship from that. You might find each other attractive, but it begins and ends there.
yeah.
And that's not a that kind of got boring for me. So
Sliding in DMs or thinking the relationship would last or.
we'll I think both sliding in DMs for sure, but just the relationship lasts just on the physical attractiveness. Yeah, not yeah.
So you guys never slid in any DM?
I said I have. Yeah.
I definitely
Alright, yeah.
slid into it.
What was your best DM line?
Hi.
Hi.
I don't have much.
Y'all talk about us and
I don't-
men's
it's-
creativity.
I'm definitely
no.
a person to like your
Okay.
pictures.
Three times.
I'll say,
So you can come to
hey.
my page.
How are you? Or something like
But
that.
to a random person or somebody you know.
I've done it to random people.
Okay. Shavon means
I
got
see
no
you, I want you,
shame
I'm
in
gonna
the
get
game.
you.
I don't really
Right.
care.
You do this the easy way.
I don't care.
Did the high work?
A couple times, yes.
Okay.
Okay, she said this ain't her
The
first
high don't
rodeo.
work.
Okay.
High doesn't work for us.
I know.
Okay.
Actually, I've had a guy slide in my DMs, and it was a simple hello, how are you? And honestly, it works. I'm so serious. Mind you, I was plotting the whole time.
I think someone, I think someone who was who comes at you correctly. The punctuation and spelling is good.
gotta
That's
be
a
all-
good.
So he just needs to know good grammar. And
Yes.
he never do.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that.
Hello,
but,
Jasmine. How is your day going? That works.
Top 100
Comma
pickup
best.
lines.
Right.
Okay, so another question is, do you or would you ever have sex on the first date?
I have.
Okay.
So would you? He said, okay.
I have.
Okay.
More than one time.
Is that wine?
Is that what?
We're not going to pretend,
More than one time.
He said,
No,
so.
I think
I mean,
so.
one time.
Obviously, I mean, we said it in the beginning. I'm a bit older. I'm 35. I think some of these things, answering from a male's perspective, some of these things take time to just grow and mature into a certain place. We realize some shit doesn't matter. Sex on the first date doesn't matter. Like, as a younger man, I might have thought, like, yo, sex first date, there's no way I can date this girl. At a certain point, you realize, like, yo, if you're two adults, and you guys are feeling each other and it is what it is, it doesn't mean you can't go wherever you need to go with it in terms of a relationship, or maybe it just stops at that. But sex in the first date, to me, shouldn't be a deterrent or an obstacle to either going to a deeper place or just recognizing maybe that's just what it was, and you were two adults that found each other attractive.
It can
I
be just
agree.
that.
I
It
agree.
can be just
I
that.
definitely agree.
That's
It
valid.
doesn't make, I think, men, it doesn't make a girl this or that. Men, I think, more so than even women in a lot of cases, have fucked up perspectives on what that is.
I mean, it's definitely. I think that there's a lot of factors that go into making it a totally different experience for women when you have sex on the first date, in terms of like how you feel like you're going to be perceived after that encounter.
Not necessarily, depends on what your intentions were.
Oh, of course. If your intention was like, this is what I wanted the whole time, sure. If it just kind of happened, then it's unfortunate that after the fact you're like, man, this dude's is he going to ghost me, or is he like, did I do something wrong? It's like, to them it was just that. And for a woman it feels so much deeper than that sometimes if that was not your intention.
But it can go the other way too.
Sure,
yes.
yes.
That's the thing that I think that even still, for as progressive as we are in the year 2020, there are a lot of men that don't realize that women have agency, and a woman can want to have sex just as much as a man can.
We do.
And have sex with you and be like,
And be like, all right, I'm good.
All
See you
right.
later.
God bless you, child. All right, I'll talk to you later. You know?
And those
Definitely
decisions are,
left.
you gotta know yourself too. You know you're someone who gets emotionally attached to someone after sex, and you're the type to do that on the first date and then expect something. You shouldn't do it. But if you're somebody who can do that and say, listen, I'm good with whatever you decide to. Like, whatever we do. If we want to ghost each other, I'm cool. I got mine, you got yours. But if we want to, like, see where this goes, I'm cool with that, too.
Mm-hmm.
You got to just be that type. You got to know who you are as a person to be okay with that.
Okay. So to get off of Twitter, off of that place, just ask a couple questions, because really you could go into a dark hole in Twitter
And
relationship.
I would like to.
Instagram is actually the most toxic.
Well, it is. That's what I was thinking.
But
I would like to make a disclaimer about Twitter. I think Twitter is where people can put their alter egos.
Yes.
I think that is a place where people can be who they're not in real life.
What is Instagram?
I think this is what I think. I think that Twitter is a place where you'll get the most outlandish comments on certain topics, but on Instagram it's
a lifestyle. Instagram is a visual.
No, it's an entire
it's a visual.
It's an entire perception, I think, versus like somebody's just tweeting out something crazy where you're like, this is a hot take
Twitter
versus
Twitter bothers me less. Twitter is like
Twitter bothers me less.
Twitter is low level effort. I'm in bed. I'm just talking this shit. Instagram, people craft entire lies into visual
she said
lies.
it right though. She said it right.
No, but
that's what
I'm saying. Is like Twitter is
not how your followers perceive you. It's what you put out there, right? The content you put out there. Instagram is what your followers perceive.
That is not true.
Yeah,
I'm
agreeing.
I can take a picture. I can take a right angle picture right here and say I'm in Italy right now.
In the last 5 years, do you know one relationship that actually they hate each other but they post each other as relationship goals?
Yeah.
Honestly,
that's not just their audience perceiving them. That's making a cognitive choice to say, "Yo, we want to be relationship goals." You know at least one relationship where they actually are terrible. They talk to each other terrible. Mm-hmm. He cheats on her all the time. She cheats on him all the time. And they post each other at their best moments to give each other FOMO, give their audience FOMO about the type of relationship they wish they had. That's not their audience misinterpreting what they're trying to present. That's them actively saying, we're fucking lying.
I disagree. I think Twitter is a vent session. I think people can...
Okay.
I think that's where people go
but
not be... Who,
but
like,
that's literally
women would go in there and
Twitter
say, I'm not dating
though.
no man with no money.
That's
but
what
then
it's for.
You know, like...
I will say, I think that Instagram is really... I almost don't want to compare them because of how they are different.
Let me say this, to the point you just made. Twitter is where people can make false affirmations, right? Instagram is where people can craft false realities. Which one is worse?
I would say
false realities.
False realities is worse. It's worse. It's more toxic. So if you think about it, just look at how, like, people. Let's put on the table mental health and all these other things that have been happening more recently. And yes, they were happening when Twitter first came out, but I would argue that it has not been at the same rate as Instagram because of the false reality kind of grouping that Instagram has. So you can even put that on the table as an argument.
You ever seen people post countdowns to their wedding? You ever seen it on Instagram? You ever seen people post a million photos of them and their partner, boyfriend, or girlfriend? And then as soon as they stop, you know something's up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's just another nuance of why Instagram is far more toxic than Twitter.
Especially
I
for
agree.
relationships.
Especially for relationships.
Oh, maybe
Because everyone wants to be relationship goals. Everyone wants to be that black couple under a waterfall in some tropical location. And the reality is that may not be the actual the day-to-day of your life. It's easy to have a highlight. It's easy to go to that foreign place on vacation for a few days and snap that picture on the waterfall. How does that man treat you on Monday when he's got home from a long day at work?
So maybe my experiences are different because my social media, I separate the two. My love life would never be. People don't even know if I'm single or in a relationship.
Agreed.
On anything.
Fair.
Because I speak to both, like as if I'm in a relationship and as if I'm single. But my experience with social media is totally different because I have a business that was started off Instagram. So my engagement.
You treat it as a tool.
Yeah. So I don't see it as toxic. I think that's. I know it's gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I think it's crazy that people think that social media is toxic because you control what you see.
I would say none of it is toxic in terms of what it actually is intended to be, which is just a tool.
Yeah.
It's toxic in the way in which people choose to use it and in the way in people choose to engage / consume
Exactly.
it.
Yes.
I'm not really too invested in people's love lives to be like, oh, that's fake.
But there's so many people who do.
But I'm not invested.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But I think that's the thing. I don't think you have to be invested. Like, right? I'm not sitting here saying like I'm tracking people's lives. I'm sitting here saying like I just like the reality is in my social circle, whether it be inner to outer circles, right? You know instances in which people are dealing with certain things in reality and presenting a different story on social media.
Yes.
I'm not here to condemn you. I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. But the reality is that as someone who I try to maintain as close of a relationship to reality as I can, whatever I choose to share online is actually a reality of my life.
Definitely.
How I choose to live my life is actually my life. I don't want there to be a disconnect between the two. But the reality is that we all know people that there is a disconnect. And
financial. That's what finances. That's what relationships.
But that's just another instance of an unhealthy dynamic relationship with social media. If you know you got $3 in your pocket, but you on Instagram with bottles, and to me it's the same thing. You're creating and crafting a false reality. And why are you doing that? Because on some level, you enjoy and maybe even need the validation and the attention from a like, from a comment, from people saying, yo, that's what's up. But your day-to-day, when you're in your studio apartment eating ramen noodles, you're trying to figure out how can I actually make that false reality a real one, and you may not even feel like you know how to. Like, that, to me, is why it can become a toxic thing. Because seeing words, reading words, your imagination shows you or crafts what that visual looks like. Instagram, people go above and beyond to give you a visual to hold on to let you know you're on the shit, but they might literally be in the worst place in their life.
Maybe because I still sit in different. When I turn off Instagram, what I saw is what I saw. What I like. If it's something that's I just unfollowed the Shade Room like a week ago. Like I control.
I don't follow none of that stuff.
Yeah, I control what I see, so it's not toxic to me. Like if it's something that I don't like, I'm putting parameters up to where I don't see it anymore, or where it doesn't happen, or I'm not engaging with it.
A lot of people
I don't support it.
A lot of people don't.
A lot of people
like I recently heard of just like there's a lot of blogging couples who will get engaged, and people will literally watch and cry, and even to some degree, like, I mean, I have a sister who has a large following. Like, people will message me when it was her wedding, like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm at this wedding, or just in general, like in a way where you feel like you have ownership over this relationship or this.
For a second? My wife has a following on Instagram. We do not post our relationship on Instagram. If you go to my account, there's maybe 2 photos of us. If you go to her account, there's maybe 1 post of us. We were dating for over 2.5 years when we got engaged. When we got engaged, people messaged her and were mad that she did not tell them that we were in a relationship. It can be a beautiful thing. It can be an ugly thing. She's at a sizable figure and there are beautiful messages that are sent in terms of, you know, whatever the impact of content and stories that are being told. And then to my point, there's other people who are like, yo, I don't know you and I've never met you, but why didn't you tell me that you were engaged to a man that I never met and I don't know either?
That's crazy. But yeah, I would never so from my standpoint, looking single and being single is marketable. People will engage with you, people will buy your product, whatever they do, because they think that's something like, oh, I may have a chance with her, or, you know, so I would keep my
I mean, you are crafting a false image, though.
If you weren't,
Yes.
if you weren't in a relationship, if you weren't single.
That's the tricky part.
I disagree with that.
You saying you're single,
Yeah.
you're not.
No, so he's saying,
I am single.
Well,
though.
he's saying like if you weren't single and you didn't put your relationship online, like would you choose to put your relationship online if you were in one, essentially?
No, I would keep that separate, but that's not, because I'm not sharing a part of my life with you doesn't mean that's a false image.
No, I guess I'd heard you say you promote something when you're single, then you might.
No, I
toe
said
the line.
looking single is marketable.
Looking
yes,
single.
being
So,
just like how celebrities like to look younger.
Yeah.
Like they would look younger. They
Would you
single.
actively try to look single even if you were in a relationship?
Actively trying to me is not posting my partner.
So
So,
technically, yes,
not-
that's your
Technically.
yes. So that's creating a false reality.
I disagree. That's just like how you just said. How
No,
you
no,
always
I,
post
We're not
but I,
saying-
but I,
we're not
but I
saying-
think so. Technically, if you're like, yo, I'm active. If you're like, my philosophy is this: I don't have any issue posting my relationship. I just don't feel the urge to try. I don't. My relationship is not content.
Mm-hmm.
Like my life moments where I go, certain things I experience, cool. I have no problem. I'm not trying to be relationship goals. I don't give a fuck what people think about my relationship. I know I love my woman. I know I love my wife. I don't need to present that so I can get likes. I don't need that validation. So that's why I don't use it as content. So I'm not actively trying not to share it. I just am cognizant of I don't necessarily want to give that to strangers.
Right. I totally agree with you, but I'm saying as far as keeping that separate because of the toxic, like we were talking about that being toxic,
Mm-hmm.
I would keep that separate. But I was mentioning being single is marketable. That's if you're on social media to influence or to sell something, and you notice people. I notice your stock goes down when people get married. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you notice your pictures by yourself get more likes than or more engagement than the pictures with your partner. If your intention on social media is to sell something or influence, why would I killing two birds with one stone? I'm not sharing my relationship with you, and I'm making sure my engagement stays up because of this motive of selling this product.
But then what about the people that do make money off of their relationships then? Because there are tons and tons.
Based off the
speak on
same
that.
reasons you just mentioned.
Yes, so because sometimes things are completely more marketable when it is. Because I think I was having this conversation with my sister a couple weeks ago, and the thing about I think relationships and putting them online, oftentimes because you see more people our age, 25, getting engaged or getting married, which is nothing bad. It's just sometimes seeing that online makes it more attainable. So then it becomes more marketable because it's like, hey, oh my gosh, this person just got engaged. Oh my gosh, this person, also has a baby. Oh my gosh, this, these things that anybody can do. But if it's positioned the right way, if it's edited the right way and put online, wow, I can get a Pampers deal. Wow, I can get a Dove's deal. Wow, I can get all these deals and work with brands. So I think as it can be marketable when you're single, it can be marketable when you're in a relationship. And I think that's why the conversation, I guess, of us bringing up, like, relationships online, are we for them or are we against them? We don't... Against. I'm against, personally.
Relationships online?
Putting my relationship online. I'm against. Am I against other people who choose to use their relationship as content?
I'm against that too. I'm against them.
You're against them?
I'm against them.
Yeah, I can't speak to marketable couples because that's the audience. I'm not in that
But
audience.
They would. But do you find what they do as putting their relationship as content? Do you does it make you feel any type of way?
No, because I think we all have we live in a world where everything has to be monetized. You make money what works. Yes, people their passions now are monetized. Everything has to be a side hustle.
Your phrasing of that is what I disagree with. Can everything be monetized? Sure, you can make that argument. Does it have to be? No.
No, you're right. But I'm saying if me showing my boyfriend gives me money, why would I not post it?
Yo, I'll say this, especially if it's a person of color, do your thing. If you're not hurting anybody and you're not on the street knocking anybody over the head and taking their purse, do your thing. Philosophically, I feel like I'd rather build up a skill set, a craft, build a company, figure out a way. There are some parts of your life that if you make accessible and open to the public, then you're going to be at the public's mercy. And when it comes time when those parts of your life hit a valley instead of a peak, you're not going to know how to fucking react.
Oh yeah, no,
Because
I agree with that.
if you open up your shit to the public, everything's cool when it's at a peak. Everything's cool when it's high. Everything's cool when you first meet. Everything's cool when you get engaged. Everything's cool when you're in love. What happens when you hit a rocky patch and you have 1,000 comments saying leave her, leave him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are you strong enough to actually say like, yo, fuck you? You actually don't know this person.
But the original question was, am I against people posting their relationship? If
Yeah.
they make them, if that's what get them some
She's not
money in
against
their
it.
wallet, I'm not
She's
against
not
it.
against it.
But I'm not an audience that I would. I'm not.
You're not speaking to
I've
her.
never been invested in relationships.
Sure.
Like
Outside
I
of your
don't
own.
get that
No.
fast. I don't get that obsession with that.
Yeah.
We are living in times where everything can be monetized.
Do you think that age plays a factor in that? I'm sorry.
We gotta wrap it up. Dang, wish we had more time.
I know.
I know. We
can
could
do
go,
a part
We
two.
could go all night. Yeah.
Part two,
Hey,
right.
man, it's always another day to talk about love. Always. Love is always 365. I hope everyone has a wonderful Valentine's Day. I hope everyone is spreading love, receiving love, and finding ways to give joy to anyone you meet. So thank you guys for joining us on this episode of So We Gather, Computer Love. I hope that some of these dinner conversations can be taken into your home, and let me know if love is also as spicy a topic, especially online. See you guys.